The shocking truth about Australia's miracle economy that nobody talks about. Stop scrolling. What I'm about to reveal will change how you see Australia forever. While everyone's celebrating Australia's economic miracle, millions of Australians are drowning in debt. And the whole system is one shock away from collapse. This isn't clickbait, this is reality. You've been lied to about Australia's economy. Yes, you heard that right. The headlines scream about this country's success. Decades of growth, low unemployment, high wealth per capita. But here's what they won't tell you. Ordinary Australians haven't seen real wage growth in over a decade, while the cost of everything has skyrocketed. Think I'm exaggerating? Just keep watching. Australia, by the numbers, the foundation of the story. Before exposing what's really happening, let me paint the picture of what the world is dealing with. Australia today is home to 27.4 million people, spread across 7.7 million square kilometers, Australia covering approximately the size of Europe, making it the 6th largest country on Earth by landmass. But with a population density of just 3.5 people per square kilometer. To put that in perspective, that's one of the lowest population densities in the developed world. But here's where it gets interesting. About 86% of Australians live in urban areas, mostly crammed into cities along the coast. While the vast interior, the famous outback, remains largely empty. This isn't just a geography lesson. It's the key to understanding Australia's economic vulnerabilities. Now, how did Australia get here? The story begins on January 26, 1788, when 11 ships known as the First Fleet arrived at Sydney Cove. These weren't explorers or merchants. They were carrying over 1,370 people, including around 780 convicts, sent by Britain to establish a penal colony on the other side of the world. Over the next 80 years, Britain shipped more than 160,000 convicts to Australian shores. What started as a dumping ground for Britain's unwanted became something extraordinary. The convicts built roads, bridges, and buildings. Free settlers followed, drawn by land grants and opportunities. But here's a crucial chapter that changed everything. Starting in the 1860s, thousands of Afghan cameleers arrived from British India, and they became the unsung heroes of Australia's development. Between 1870 and 1900, more than 2,000 cameleers brought an amazing 15,000 camels to Australia. These skilled immigrants, predominantly Pashtun, Baluchi, Punjabi, and Sindhi, didn't just transport goods. They were significant contributors to the wool industry, mining industry, construction of the overland telegraph, and the rabbit-proof fence. Without these Afghan pioneers, Australia's vast outback would never have opened up to European settlement. They carried supplies to the goldfields, connected remote settlements, and literally built the infrastructure that allowed Australia to become the prosperous nation it is today. They contributed greatly to the development of goldfield towns like Coolgardie, Kalgoorlie, Menzies, and Leonora. This story proves that from its very beginning, Australia's success was built on the contributions of diverse immigrant communities working together. But here's the part that shaped Australia's entire economic DNA from day one. Australia's prosperity was built on extracting wealth from the land and shipping it overseas. First, it was wool, then gold, then wheat, and eventually iron ore and coal. For over 200 years, Australians have been digging things up and selling them to other countries. This colonial economic model worked when Britain ruled the waves. It worked during the gold rushes. It even worked during the first mining booms. But what happens when that 200-year-old business model hits a wall in the 21st century? That's exactly what Australia is witnessing right now. If you like our content, subscribe now to our channel. Like, share, and comment. Thank you for your support. The three-pillar house of cards. The resource addiction. Here's the dirty secret. Australia isn't economically diverse. The country is essentially China's quarry. When 2008's financial crisis destroyed other economies, Australia survived for one reason: China's hunger for Australian dirt and rocks. But here's the plot twist. Nobody saw coming. Australia got so addicted to this easy money that the country forgot to build anything else. Today, China buys 84% of Australia's iron ore. That's not diversification, that's economic suicide waiting to happen. What happens when China doesn't need Australia's rocks anymore? Spoiler alert, the country is about to find out. The unfortunately well-known property Ponzi scheme. Now here's where it gets really insane. All that mining money didn't build industries or create jobs. It inflated the biggest housing bubble in Australia's history. The previous generation could buy a house on a single income. What about today? Good luck affording a shoebox in the suburbs. And here's the kicker. The government designed it this way, through tax loopholes that reward property. Speculation over actual productivity. The result? Australian homes aren't shelter anymore, they're financial weapons. The debt-death spiral. But wait, there's more. Since wages haven't kept up with living costs, how do people survive? Debt, mountains of it. Australians now owe $182 for every $100 they earn, one of the highest debt ratios on planet Earth. The country has been living beyond its means for so long. Australians have forgotten what their actual means are. And now, the music has stopped. The perfect storm. Interest rates are rising faster than a TikTok trend. And Australia's three-pillar economy is cracking under pressure. First, higher rates equals mortgage stress. 75% of mortgage holders are already feeling the pain. Second, squeezed households equals property markets stalling. Third, China slowing down equals Australia's biggest customer buying less. It's like watching dominoes fall in slow motion, except these dominoes are people's lives. The wake-up call. Here's what no politician wants to admit. Australia is facing a lost decade unless the country acts now. Not next year, not after the next election, now. The solutions exist, but they require Australia to admit some uncomfortable truths. Australia's tax system rewards speculation over innovation. The country has become economically lazy, relying on luck instead of skill. Australia needs to build industries that don't involve digging holes. The choice. Australia stands at a crossroads. Path 1. Keep pretending everything's fine while the foundations crumble. Path 2. Face reality and rebuild the economy for the 21st century. The choice Australia makes in the next 5 years will determine if the country thrives or just survives. If this opened your eyes, you need to first, smash that like button if you think more Australians need to hear this truth. Second, share this video. Your friends and family deserve to know what's really happening. Third, subscribe and hit the notification bell because I'm exposing more economic myths that affect your wallet. Fourth, comment below. What's the biggest economic challenge you're facing right now? Housing costs? Stagnant wages? I read every single comment.